We're on cameras. That's my hair, look. Check my hair. Didn't even do that. I put my phone on airplane mode. Is there a name or address to walk into? Okay, we can deal with that. That's a tomorrow problem. There's a joke that I have where one of my best friends, Kate, she was visiting, she was in LA for a bit in December. This is pre-fires. She escaped Florida where she had like the hurricane. It was in Topanga for the fires. And we went to yoga one night, and we came back, and we had left before we'd left and got dinner. We left her dog in my house, like totally chill. We come back to my like 8:30, 9, and there's like water like pouring out from the building. When she was like, "Oh, that's a tomorrow." Walk into the house. She's like, "Oh, it's a today problem."
It's definitely a today issue.
The toilet hadn't like flushed. Well, it had a flush, but it was like the stopper hadn't stopped.
Yeah,
so it was just like. It was everywhere. So it's like...
That is not a tomorrow.
It's a tomorrow problem.
Right
oh, wait.
now.
That's not a tomorrow problem.
Let's move that up the list.
Yeah. Cool. We'll call for like an hour, and then I'll like cut you off and say, I'll stop talking, please. Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So we met a couple of days ago.
Literally, yeah.
And I was like, hey, are you busy on Friday? And I mean, we touched about this a little bit on kind of the walk from lunch to here. But this idea of kind of what this whole thing is all about is, you know, people who are, I feel like there's this collective wave of people who are disenchanted with the story that maybe our generation from our parents, who were told like you have one job and then you'll be able to buy a house and you'll be able to retire.
Set for life.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like there's this whole disenchantment with people now of like, oh wait, that isn't the story that is actually possible anymore. And so through that, I think there's a lot of people who are questioning the work they're doing, the way they're living their lives. And I'd love to learn a little bit how you got on this journey of where you are today.
Yeah, so I was definitely in that mindset. My dad was a job for lifer. He was probably 40 years with the same company, retired. It was definitely in my mindset of that's how you do it. That's the work that you get into, and you are a lifer. I'd spent 20 plus years in the staffing industry for 2 companies.
Whoa.
You
had the golden handcuffs.
So I definitely had somewhere in my system was that mindset from my dad of just kind of stick with it. But yeah, pretty much two companies for 20 years. So was there for a long time, and was very fortunate that I got a green card at the start of this year. I'm British, thank you. Living in Venice Beach, California, and loving living here. Why wouldn't you? And it was just that moment in time of, I was at a pivotal moment in my career where I was thinking, okay, do I want to carry on down the path that I'm going in the current organization? Do I want to look at another big corporate type of organization to work with, or start to look at something completely different? And I'd had a really good experience in all of the companies that I'd worked in. One of them started off, we were 120 people, and then we grew to 5,500 people.
Wow.
In 10 years that I was there. And I was in charge of people and development director. So kind of getting the people upskilled, focusing on their careers and their development, and really saw the value in doing that, had great experiences. But yeah, just got to that point recently over the last probably couple of years, post-COVID. My last job within the COVID space, there was a lot of opportunity there. We had a healthcare division, so there was a lot of opportunity. And then things started to shift markets-wise. Recruitment's had probably its toughest 18 months ever, as I'm sure you know from your background as well, and probably our mutual contacts in the industry. It's been a tough 18 months or so. So fork in the road moment of, do I do it for myself? Do I do it for another organization? Do I do it for the existing organization? And kind of fortuitously, these things always kind of, I think, come to you. The universe, I think, spoke to how I was going to make my decision for me. So I've been working with a leadership development consultancy in the UK called West Peak. I was a customer of theirs for 2 years, really enjoyed working with them, great ethos, great collaboration, and seeing really good results. And Ben and I, the founder of West Peak in the UK, started to talk about me being potentially an associate after I'd left my last company. That then turned into a bigger conversation of, why don't you just quit your job? Why don't you start West Peak in the US? Why don't you take all the risks that your dad said never take and then dive headfirst into founding your own company at the start of 2025?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the journey that we got to. So we are still a relatively new entry in the market in the US. I only finished my job in my last recruitment firm last month. So I was still working part-time for them and then setting up the business part-time. And then I've really seen that this is the path that I probably should have gone down a while ago if I'd had the opportunity to.
And here you are now, doing it right on time.
Yeah, I think so. I think these things, they happen for a reason. They come at a time when you are ready for it and when it's ready for you. And I definitely think kind of all of these things aligning at that one point in time, changed in the market, seeing a good opportunity and actually wanting to do something that wasn't in the corporate world, all aligned perfectly.
I feel like, were you talking this way in London about the universe, or have you been LA-fied as I have too?
I think I have.
Okay.
Our very first kind of LA moment in that kind of universe way was 2017. We were sat on the balcony of the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood, and my husband and I were looking out over West Hollywood thinking, what would it take one day for us to live here? And 6 months later, we were living here. So I definitely believe that somehow or somewhere we put that out there. We made that happen.
And I love that you kind of led with that without any prompting, because that's been kind of my own experience of just like the sequence of events that has happened, that how I got to what I'm doing. It was just so mind-blowing. You couldn't really explain it beyond a rational mind. And I found that, especially being a British person, and coming from a place which felt very shut off from this way of thinking, I guess it was a more open-minded way of thinking, that I was convinced that, there's no British men out there who can speak in that way and kind of have that perception. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. Like the reason I got out here is I quit my, I was working for a recruiting company in London, which not as big scale as you, but when I joined it was about 30 people. And at that point it was about 100. It's now a fair few hundred more. But I was just miserable. I was 26. I'd been there for a couple of years. Like I just ticked all the boxes that you're supposed to tick, and just a lot of drugs and alcohol in a London office as there are. But also like numbers on the wall that you have to hit.
Absolutely.
And it was just this idea of, I woke up one day and I was just like, I'm done. And I handed in my notice. And my CEO at the time, he said, well, why don't you go out to LA? So Tom, it's actually his birthday today, and he's kind of a big part of the story, but he's no longer around. He'd come out to LA in February that year, and I think sounds had a bit of a similar, he was golfing with a friend, and he was like, I could do this. Yeah. Like, let's do LA.
This is it.
And so I just, by happenstance, I had quit like a month later, and my CEO said, hey, why don't you go out to LA with Tom? And that opportunity, and I was like, well, LA is just like, cool, I'll do it for 6 months. Like that's just going to be fast cars and Hollywood and boobs and things like that. And, I think there's the number of times that I've been given so much just by taking the leap of, and it feels like quitting your job is like the most like leaving in a relationship and quitting a job.
Yes, they're huge. Particularly if you haven't grown up in the gig economy like I have. It's always been that kind of job for life. Our friends always say that we're really lucky. I don't think we're really lucky. I think we work really hard, make really good decisions, and have a little bit of kind of the universe telling us what we need to do, or at least just things aligning at the right time for us to be able to make those hard decisions and work really hard to make them happen. And that's definitely, I feel, where we are now.
And how do you see that? Like, you talked about being on the path that is meant for you. What does that mean for you? How is that different from just kind of showing up and doing your 9 to 5? I say 9 to 5, like 8 till 8 kind of thing.
It means the opportunity to do the things that matter to me, that give me a sense of purpose and meaningful work. That for me is really important. We met at an event on employee experience and employee engagement. And the things that came out consistently was giving people meaningful work, trusting them to do a good job, and then rewarding and recognizing the work that they do. And sometimes you can do those things for yourself. You can create your own meaningful work. You can trust your judgment in the way that you do things yourself. And actually, if you've got those two in the right combination, the reward is actually that you're making every decision, and every single one of those decisions can either come back on you in a positive way or not. And all of those things you're going to learn from. And for me, that sense of kind of trusting my own judgment and my own 20 plus years of experience to be able to do this. Don't get me wrong, there's still a ton of imposter syndrome when I sit at my laptop every single day. I'm doing a podcast on AI next week.
Who knows what they're doing?
That one, there's a lot of imposter syndrome on, but it's around trusting your own judgment and trusting the fact that you can do this and there is a lot of opportunity out here and an abundance mentality that we can all support each other, find different connections for each other to benefit from and maximize on those to help us all.
Yeah, I mean, that abundance mentality, I think about kind of, I went to a park with a friend. It was a friend's birthday the other day. There was a bunch of women and there was this really hot guy. And I laughed because I think it was just funny how women like show up when it's just like, you know, and the version of myself and granted the other women there, how we showed up is so different to how it would have been 10 years ago, which would have been like, hey, you know, really like putting on a thing because it was this idea of competition. And I use that example because it's just the way that we've been ingrained the whole time. It's like, if there's only one person or job opportunity and then there's so limited, and especially like being an ex-recruiter, you know, it's hard to not have that sense of competition because you are competing for the same job sometimes or same clients, which is rare. But there's so
much to go around.
There's so much
to go around.
And I think there's like a different set of values because I hear the imposter syndrome, like, not I hear it in you. No need to have imposter syndrome, but like that sense inside my head of like, what do I think I'm doing?
Yeah. Oh, literally every day. Like, it's a joke that I'm doing a podcast. What's wrong with me?
You're on a podcast now.
Damn it, I am.
This is the universe saying, hey, so you can do it.
Hey, you can actually do this.
You can wear a mic, you can sit on the camera.
Look at a camera that I'm not going to look at.
How do you get over maybe it's not a case of getting over the imposter syndrome, but how do you manage it?
I guess the first for me is just trusting that experience that you have. And your imposter syndrome, effectively, it's just you trying something new. And if you had that your entire life and you didn't push yourself through trying something new, those things at some point become muscle memory and you're able to do them. Everything that you do when you start up a new business for yourself is something new. So every single task is pretty much an imposter syndrome style task. Everything is only ever going to come back to you. And honestly, there's so much that I had to just get over myself really quickly because I didn't have time to sit and worry about it and think, can I do it? Just get on and do it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's probably not the right product or service that the customers needed, and we'll find something different and we'll move through it. And it was just I'm from a sales background. Pace and speed and getting through stuff is really important to me. So not being able to kind of labor the point and being able to dwell on it too much helps me get through it. Don't get me wrong, I still reflect at the end of the day and journal at the end of the week as to what's worked and what's not. And that definitely helps. But for me, it's got to get through it.
This idea of, I love that you have been in the same industry because like we get it. You know, the thing that was so aversive to me, especially the way that I worked in my old company, and I think initially setting up with my own, was this idea of sales, like trying to convince someone or persuade something to happen.
Yeah.
And it feels so aversive now.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like this idea of like, well, what's the new way of working is this idea that, you know, I don't need to sell to you because if there's something that I offer, like I don't have to convince you or manipulate the way that you see me to make sure that you know that I'm valuable.
No, exactly. We do things exactly that way. So I don't pick up the phone and sell to random clients. I network. I was amazed looking out to Venice, just the opportunity of how much people want to support you, want to help you.
Yeah.
And I run events. So I ran an event in Austin last week, in New York, running one in LA soon. And it's all about getting our clients together and it's all about getting our network together. And for me, there's two types of people that show up to those events. They're both professional networkers.
Yeah.
One is the professional networker who is there for the teas and the coffees and the happy hour drinks.
Free food.
The looky-loos.
Okay, so
the other is the professional networker who has a really good network, who, if you demonstrate the value that you have for them, they will open up that network for you and they will share their connections, their little black book of really good people. And that is sales in 2025. It's finding the connection, it's sharing the value, it's seeing how I can support and benefit your business and knowing that you'll do the same in return. And that's where pretty much all of our clients are coming from. It's events, it's networking, it's sharing connections, and knowing that it's reciprocal.
Yeah, it's funny. The first podcast I had with was here with a guy called Dersu. I'm also gonna. Do you mind flipping it? It's like you can it twists on the thing itself. Yeah, I just want to make sure it doesn't catch your neck. Yeah, sweet.
That better? Yeah, I can feel it a bit there.
Or like like it twists like that on the magnet. Midway through, we'll punch this out. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Got that?
Better?
You mind if I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure that. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things that was coming to mind was the first episode I did here with a guy called Dersu was we were talking about how, you know, we go to these networking events and people say, what do you do? And like there's the resistance around that of just like, oh, I don't want to be seen in this value. So I think there is an element of, I love it when I tend to ask people like, what do you need right now? And actually somebody asked me that in one of these conversations. So like, what do you need right now? It's like, oh, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. And I think there is such this, I think there's a different way of networking, which is just so like, what can I give instead of what can I get?
Yes. You know? Yeah. And
like, you can tell when you're in those events and people are just like, what can you get out of me?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you want to shut down and be like, go away.
There was one I went to. It was probably one of the first after he'd started West Peak, and it took me probably 15 minutes of walking up and down the street, the courage to walk into the bar on my own firstly, because some people love it. Some people, it just takes a little bit of kind of self-talk to get you in the room.
Yeah.
I'd say I probably lasted 7 minutes in the room, just because it was around about February time. So it was all tax people wanting to get founders' business to manage their tax for them. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Wow.
And I vowed never to spend $20 on a bar-based networking event ever again. But then coming to spaces like this, meeting people like you, finding events that actually have those professional networkers who are interested in learning from you, sharing from you, seeing how you can support each other, and again, having that abundance mentality of my work can support your work, and that ecosystem builds.
And so a lot of your work that now that you work with founders and sales teams and you know, what would you say is the biggest challenge that people have when they're building their businesses in terms of people and staffing or individuals that you help with or that you come up against?
Yeah, so we work with various businesses, from kind of PE and VC backed businesses that are going through different funding series. We work with more established businesses. We work with around about 100, 150 to 10,000 people. I had calls today with, I was saying this to you earlier, one of the biggest investment banks in the world, 2.8 trillion in investments that they deal with, and a family-run farm in upstate New York.
We're going to send you a box of carrots.
Going to send me a box of their organic carrots. They're great. I can't wait to go and see them. Very similar challenges. It's really around the fact that most people in a lot of senior roles now have been great players within their industry, but not the best managers within their industry. So they are the ones that invented the product or the service or were the founder of that business. They're the marketing people that have got the technical know-how to be able to get products out to market. They are the finance people that know how to manage the numbers of it. But they're not the people that have the skills to be able to then lead and to grow and to maintain and to retain a team that builds out towards their scalability for the future. And that's really our sweet spot. It's the leaders that aren't yet quite averse with knowing how to lead. They're the ones that really need to kind of just tighten up what it means to manage people, to trust people, to build people's skills and experience, to grow people's careers, versus just task delegation.
I love that you're touching on this, because I feel like the idea of, so the Netflix culture deck came out like 15-ish years ago. Yeah. And became like the go-to for companies like Silicon Valley of like how to create culture in an organization. And I look at businesses, you know, I remember interviewing I don't think she'll mind me saying this, I won't say her name, but she was on the leadership team at Headspace. And like a company like that, which I would assume is so progressive and like everybody is, you know, centered, behind the scenes, everyone is like stressed as fuck, you know? So I think this idea of, you know, culture being there's a bunch of individuals and a growing sense of individuals who are becoming, more self-aware and wanting this sense of purpose and freedom or whatever. But companies are so archaic, even the ones that are supposedly in the wellness space doing something very future thinking.
Yeah.
And I think that I see all these companies like putting money towards, I don't know, I used to speak ping pong and kombucha, and it's less so, but I think I'd be curious kind of where you see companies putting, well, probably towards exec coaching, I imagine.
Yeah.
But I think the key theme that is lacking is communication. And like, as you say, like managers who are suddenly managing people who don't know how to talk to their other halves, let alone people they work with.
Yeah, a team of people. But now they have ChatGPT, so they can use that as a tool to speak to all of their teams. So you get a nice heartfelt message from your CEO with M dashes all the way through it. That means that you can tell it's not a single word written by the CEO who's being really mindful and impactful with their team on what Juneteenth means to them, or what behavior means to them, or what mental health means to them. There's just nothing there.
Well, and what impact's that having on employees?
So for me, the biggest thing for me, and this is one of my kind of bugbears, is when organizations call themselves a family. You're not a family. You're an organization that is in most cases a profit-making organization that requires tough decisions to be made in all areas of your business, including your people. And your families don't cut people as willy-nilly as organizations do. And we're a family until things are tough, and then we're not, and then we're a family again. Yeah. And it's creating that fake space of being a family organization, a family business, when actually we're not. We are a business that needs to make profit, we need to make tough decisions, and we should own that. Yeah. We are a team, we are a community, we are a collaboration of people, but we're not a family. Yeah. And it's when the messaging is fake and it just seems so surface level, and that's where a lot of companies spend their money, is on the real surface level, extrinsic stuff, and the intrinsic stuff just isn't there because people don't feel that they understand where the company's going. They don't know what the mission is. They don't know the part that they play that contributes towards that mission. So they don't feel the value that they add to work each day, even in the most mundane of tasks. They don't see how all of those build up to the collective of what we're all working towards. And we're not trusted. We're treated like children. We're treated in a way that doesn't show that we are able to come up with ideas, come up with new ways of doing things, being curious, challenging things. And that is why so many people are leaving. Generations coming through are much more naturally curious than other generations. They want things to be faster, just because everything's been so fast for them. Everything has been accessible and immediate. And as soon as they work in a way that slows them down, any way that shows resistance to their speed of work, it means that they're going to find a faster way to do something.
Why do you think the generation coming through is more curious?
Just because they are the ones that are most naturally curious are the ones that want to find a way to do things faster and differently. And that's not necessarily the way that others have been brought up. The whole, that's how we do things around here mentality just doesn't wash anymore.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that. I feel like everything now is for speed. Like our whole entire way of being is how productive and how speed can be. I wasn't alive working 40 years ago, so I didn't know what it was like then. I've actually just kind of always, but being, nothing's been as fast as it has now.
Nothing's been as fast. Nothing has changed as quickly. AI has been and is continuing to increase that even further. And the ones that are the most adept at using AI are the ones that want to find a faster way to do things. And that's regardless of whether you're the CEO or an intern in the organization. And it's the curious ones that are going to find the best ways forwards. And I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, and I can't remember the guy's name. He is the head of the Microsoft Garage, or Garage if you're American.
Garage.
And that is their think tank. It's all of their tech think tank. And his whole thing was hire curious people. The more curious you are, the faster you'll be. The faster you are, the more productive you'll be. You'll come up with ideas that are wrong, and that's good. And therefore you fail fast, you continue to be curious, and you're not chastised for coming up with questions and challenges and finding different solutions to things. And therefore you can lead from any seat within the organization because you are the one that is being really creative and really entrepreneurial even before your title says so.
There's the thing that comes to mind is, I've been a recruiter for 15 years and worked with hundreds of companies, who are looking to hire talent. And, we put so much weight in this CV and someone having had the right experience, which comes in the form of having done this before and having worked at a certain company. And like, I get it to some degree that is helpful, but how I operate now with clients is much more of an intuitive sense of, this person might not have done this in this way, but look at this drive that they have, and this is why it appeases for, like, they want to have this family situation where they are really motivated to, you know, do X, Y, Z in their work. And there's a very different mentality that I'm seeing, because we're operating in a new world, in a world, as you say, it's like going at the speed of light, the way that AI, and I've had a couple of people on here say it, like, it's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of the most adaptable. And so, you know, in terms of hiring talents, adaptability is curiosity.
Yes, it's the number one. Absolutely.
And so that's this metric that it's, you know, I have so many people who are trying to perfect their CV.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, how do you tap into your curiosity? And I think that, for me, has been like an inner journey of like, well, what's the most curious thing? Is like, well, inside my head. Yeah, so I'll start there, you know?
Yeah. All the things that employers look for on resumes are the technical skills.
Yeah.
And they're the things that are going to be automated. So those are a thing of the past. You don't need to be able to code anymore. That is done for you. You don't need the technical skills of finance. That is done for you with AI. It's the human skills that are going to be the ones that will rise to the top. It's the leadership, it's the communication, it's the EQ, it's the curiosity. Number one, agility, flexibility. We do assessments for leaders on 3 different things, and we're adding a 4th one in there off the back of this. First one is leadership. So how well they lead, what their behaviors are, how they show up, and how that influences the people around them.
Yeah.
Second is teamship. So your team dynamics of trust and communication and accountability and positively challenging each other and holding each other to account. Next is followership. You understand the vision, you know the part that you play in it, you're aligned with the mission of the vision of the team and the leader, and therefore there's all that discretionary effort that you put in. You'll run through walls for your leader because you're so aligned, you just want to get this done for them and with them. And the 4th we're adding in is learnership. It's how much you learn, how quickly you can adapt, how open you are to change, how you're using all the tools around you to be able to self-develop and to move yourself forward to be the leader of tomorrow versus the leader of today, or even worse, the leader of yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think about so many people getting laid off at the moment, and I scroll through LinkedIn, and it's kind of one of 2 things. It's either, yay, I got my marketing certificate, great,
congrats,
or there is a very I don't want to say compelling, but very kind of heartstrings. I've applied for 5,000 jobs, no one's replying. I'm at my wit's end, like desperation.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm of the mindset that, like, I'd love for this to kind of become this series to kind of be the alternative of. I really strongly believe, and I say that because it's been my own experience, is that when I shifted the dial on what I was focusing on rather than the external and more on the internal, a lot more doors started to open of like what I was really inspired by, what actually I really needed, and clarity around money and what I was willing to do. And, you know, I think a lot of I think there's so much fear out there. You know, firstly, the industries are crumbling overnight. But I think if, you know, positioning it, like how you reframe like the skills that the future companies will need, like I think there is a huge opportunity for people to position themselves in a different way.
Definitely. The whole way that people are viewing things now is completely different to how they've done it previously.
Yeah.
And if you're in a position where you've either been laid off or you're looking at the next career path for you, think about your why, firstly. Why do you do what you do? What are the things that you really enjoy doing? And most importantly, why do you do that? What is it that drives you? Is getting you out of bed in the mornings to make you want to deliver something? Secondly, do you want to deliver that for someone else, or do you want to deliver that for yourself? And for many people, it might be that they want that environment where they are working in a corporate world, and that's great. That's perfect for you. It's not perfect for everybody. Third thing you need to do is kind of get over yourself, because it is going to be tough.
Amen.
It is going to take a while to get through the barriers that it takes to start up a business, but there is a lot of support out there. There are a lot of other founders out there that will give you advice just in conversation, not for any benefit or any value, just to kind of share advice and share opinions. But there is so many more opportunities out there for people to do it for themselves. And also just not one thing. You don't have to pick one thing. You can do 3, 4, 5 different things.
I mean, I think that's the crazy idea that for me, it was like getting clear on how I wanted to work, what was important to me. And one of those things was like, I don't want to be reliant on one income stream.
Yeah.
And so the goal has been like, I'm positioning myself as a fractional recruiter and sales partnerships. And I have one that's on a monthly right now, that I'm looking at other opportunities. Well, I want to bring on another client to then have 2 or 3 at least in this space. And then maybe there's an income stream for this. Yeah. Music will be an income stream. Yeah, it's like the safetiness and the security for me is in the diversity of income streams.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the scary thing with, these big one company for life is like, I don't know, there was some big company that did big layoffs a couple of weeks ago. All of them.
Yeah, pretty much all.
all of them. And it's like these, we were saying Hollywood, like the studios in LA at the moment have been dead for the last few years, really.
Yeah.
And these huge, giant, behemoth, Hollywood studios that had employees, thousands, guaranteed for life. There's no work there.
No, there's not. There really isn't. And certainly the benefits and the value and the pensions of the things that a lot of people used to have as the reason to stay, they're just not there anymore. Yeah. You might be 2 years from retirement after 40 years at Disney. In that case, don't start up for yourself. But otherwise, not many people have got decent enough pensions to have those as the reason to stay in anymore. They're just not.
I feel like the real memo is just like it's possible for everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's scary. Yeah. But I think there is this like, we're at a place now where cool. And even if you do have a job that you like and great, but I still think there's a conversation, okay, well how can that be like a 4-day-a-week thing?
Yeah.
Or where you can have the other time where you do have a different income stream, not for just financial security, but for fulfillment.
Yeah.
Say that really quickly.
For fulfillment.
For fulfillment. 5 times. For fulfillment. But for fulfillment. And I think you touched upon this idea of this drive or this sense of purpose. The four channels that I have for Whole Collective, which were, what is the solution to mental angst, to world issues, whatever, very much kind of summing it in whatever. It's connection to self, to the kind of self-awareness, a body, what's the thoughts happening in our head, our value system. It's connection to others, so being based in community. It's a connection to a sense of purpose, like this direction, but also this creativity. Like we have, and by creativity, I also mean autonomy. We have far more autonomy than we know what to do with. And by the sounds of things, like that's the value that people are really wanting, but it's lacking.
Absolutely. Have you heard of self-determination theory?
Remind me.
Autonomy, mastery, and relatedness.
Ooh,
the 3 key things that as an individual is that kind of self-driven, but really deep-seated self-driven intrinsic motivation. So it's autonomy, that you are where you are because you choose to be there. You are doing the things that you choose because you have the autonomy to do so. And that also includes working for a big corporate. You have the autonomy to choose to work for this organization. These are decisions that you have made that have got you to that point in time. As much as it is to be autonomous to set up on your own and be your own founder and be in charge of your own destiny in that way. Relatedness, having people around you that have got your back, seeing that there is a value and a benefit to the community that you are working within, and seeing that you are a part of that, and knowing that you play within that, and that there's a value in every direction from those relatedness areas. And then mastery, being really good at something, knowing your value, knowing your worth, and seeing that there is continuous improvement and continuous progression in that mastery. And if you've got that kind of combination of the 3, whether that's in a corporate environment or whether that's in your own, that's where that kind of real self-drive comes from. Sometimes in a corporate environment, 1 or 2 of those areas may be lacking. Sometimes that sense of autonomy, you may feel more trapped than there because you've got the choice to be there. You may feel that sense of mastery, you've kind of plateaued in where you are, skills aren't developing, not learning as much. Relatedness, you may hate the people you work with. We've all been there at one stage in our lives. But then doing it for yourself, it has its different challenges because there's almost too much autonomy, so you don't quite know where to start.
Yeah.
Everything is a choice. Everything is available. Relatedness, I sit at home on my own for most days of the week. My UK team are offline by 9 a.m. my time, so it's me just there plugging away at all the things that I need to do. And mastery. Sometimes you don't have the time to really consciously develop your skills, but setting up a business, you are developing your skills every single day without you knowing so. And my growth in the last 6 months has been huge because of that.
And what would you say for people just like they don't have the financial, like they can't take the risk?
Yeah, and that is a big factor. It is always going to be a leap of faith, and it was for me. I haven't got the huge financial backing to be able to take a break from earning a salary, and was therefore fortunate with my previous employer that we were able to overlap the two. So I went part-time for 3 months whilst I got the business off the ground, whilst doing the other business full-time pretty much to get it off the ground.
How did that conversation go with them?
I had a great boss.
Yeah.
I had a great boss, and he knew what my motivations were. He knew what the end goal was for me, and I was always honest with him about that at the time. And therefore, when the conversation happened, he went, "Of course, that's what you're going to do, and good, and I support you to do it. How can we make that work for you and for us?" And it was such a mature and such a positive end to a really great career in a company that I loved, that it was kind of like the cherry on the cake of the career there. It was great.
I love this because this idea of honesty of, when we typically hand in notices, it's like this shady conversation that we're not supposed to. And actually, I think, the way that I did it was I literally burnt my life to the ground and went full blown hippie, was on the road, and my income ended, my visa was going to get kicked out. Like I was like, peace out. And, I hit some ups and downs mentally.
Oh, yeah.
It was very scary. And, I came out the other side, and I'm very grateful for the lessons. But my hope and my belief is that we don't have to burn our lives to the ground. We don't have to do this like, bye forever. I'm quitting my corporate job. I think there is a way where I see the future of businesses like companies who can be evolved in the sense of like, hey, how do we make this work for us? Sirens, hi, they're coming for us. But I think that's like I worked in the corporate world for so long, and I was I don't want to say so miserable, that sounds like paints it awful, but definitely chasing this idea of what I was supposed to be doing. And then when life imploded and it all burnt to the ground, I was a hippie on the road, and I wanted to be this musician, and I was really tapping into my creative expression. And it truly that saved my life at that point. But it got to that point of like, yeah, but I can't pay rent. And so the financial fear just like kept chasing me. And then what brought me back to LA, actually this isn't what brought me back to LA, but when I got back to LA, I swore I'm never doing recruiting again, I'm out. And then it happened that Mudwater was a client, they were looking for a chief marketing officer, and I was like, well, I can do that with my eyes closed. And oh wait, this is a client that aligns with my values in a different way. And so I say that because I think, by the sounds of things, you did it perfectly, and maybe you wouldn't have actually had to leave forever. Maybe it's, can we find this sense of fulfillment and autonomy, but still have something which keeps the lights on? And that being okay.
And I'm sure there will be organizations that has that opportunity to do both, to step slightly back from what it is that you're doing in the corporate world, and then to find the time to fulfill your passions, your creativity, your mastery in another field that is complementary or completely different to it. I guess as long as from a corporate perspective, the two things aren't competing, that's going to be a key factor in it. But if they're not competing, the two potentially can run concurrently.
I kind of think this is inevitable. Like we were saying earlier, just like this whole fractional economy. Like I feel like so many people I know are moving into the space of wanting that autonomy and to set their time and their hours and how they work for themselves. But there's still like a level of, stability which comes from having the steady income.
I've got a previous team member of mine who's now, since I've left, set up on his own to do something different but similar. And one of his first client meetings are like, well, why don't you join us as a fractional? And he's like, well, I've worked in a job for 10 years. I can never think of doing fractional. And it's just, there's so many opportunities out there. Companies are definitely thinking in that mindset as well. They need to make sure that their costs are covered. So they need to ensure that there are deliverables that are done in the most cost-effective way. Companies aren't hiring big numbers of people anymore. Companies are all about productivity. It's all about how much they can use the technology that we have to get more for less. And that is going to involve less people, but it involves having people probably more on a fractional basis that keeps the cost low, but still has that human element in it as needed.
And so you're hosting an AI podcast now?
An AI event. So I've done one AI event. I'm a guest on a podcast next week.
And how do you see, I know it's like so new to even...
No, it's been around forever.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Since when?
How long have you had Netflix for on your TV?
longer than last year.
Okay. How long has it said, oh, you might want to watch these videos?
Yeah, okay,
That's AI.
algorithms. It's the algorithm. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, but how do you see that? I mean, it feels like in the last like 12 months,
Yes.
it's just become, I actually want to talk to you about this separately. Maybe I'll talk to you about, well, why not? So this company so Jesh, who's the founder, he was on here, one of the early people. And he's basically founded this company, which it's called Hours. And it's basically the idea that AI, as we know it, is a really poor representation of humanity because it's eaten the internet, and 99% of the internet is made by 1% of the population. So that's its database. So it's already like, it's not a good representation of humanity. Plus, it's owned by 5 white guys in San Francisco who are just using it to monetize off us and like sell us shit. Yeah. So he's basically saying, well, the whole ethics of AI is totally off. And we're kind of seeing that in some ways. Yeah. So he's basically built a new platform or a new totally different technology where it's how the sirens are back again. Like, he's coming. He's like, don't talk about this. He actually just presented in San Francisco this week at this like big tech conference. So it's like now in the public eye, which is really cool. But I met him a year ago, and this idea that instead of the technology like scraping what's about me on the internet and then selling it back to me, how do I become a conscious contributor of that data? And so it's all back to sovereignty and autonomy of like, okay, well, if I'm consciously giving the data to the system, what's in it for me? And so, technology is like old world, basically, that I think we're transitioning out of is basically, how do we monetize? How do we buy you stuff? Like, how do we advertise stuff back to you so you buy it off us? Yeah. And what he's founding it on is that the whole concept of the human is to grow. Like, how can technology support the individual to grow rather than just being monetized off us? So that's what he's building.
Interesting.
And so I'm at the moment helping him like taking that, basically pitching out to organizations of how does this actually serve not as like a detractor, as like a bad thing of, we're being taken over by the robots. Yeah. But how can technology actually serve us in a way where we do get to have our time back in certain departments? I probably like totally shambled that explanation.
The pitch.
Totally. It's not like it was being filmed at all. But yeah, I think it's given the whole AI conversation, particularly of the last 12 months, even though it has been around for I feel like it's really setting people on edge.
It is. It can be and it can't. It depends how it's positioned.
Yeah.
So my side of expertise in it is in AI leadership. So if you are adopting AI platforms, if you're working with AI, if you are a leader, how you can use AI to support you. I'm not a techie person. How it actually works, I don't know. But how you can humanize it and how you can manage it within your teams is really important, how it's done. So one of the elements that I was talking to someone who is senior in HR and Yahoo, and the most adoption within that organization has been within the HR space. So they use AI more than anybody else in that space because they found a way of doing it where they humanize AI to the point of it has a name, it has a job title, it has a job description, it has a place in the org chart within the HR team, and it has a monthly performance review.
What's its name?
I don't know. Okay. My AI is called Kai. My chat GPT is called Kai, K-A-I. So Kai and I chat every single day.
Okay, so you've humanized Kai.
Humanized, anthropomorphized it.
Okay.
Give it a personality. You only see the Coco robots going up and down outside the street with the deliveries in it.
Okay, can we talk about that for a second? Because... Okay, can you put a pin on that for a second? Coco robots. I had this experience a couple of weeks ago where I was it was like walking across the street and this Coco robot was coming opposite me and I must have gotten its way because it suddenly stopped and I felt such a sense of like compassion. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get in your way. And then I watched it go off and I was like, there was so much like human, like genuine empathy because I saw this thing, this cute little Coco robot.
Big white eyes, eyelashes.
Oh yeah. As like being helpless and defensive and solo on the street. And I was like so I don't know if alarmed, but so surprised at how much emotional reaction came up in me in that experience.
So imagine if that was a grey box crossing the street and it had got in your way. You'd be more likely to kick it than you would to feel sorry for it and to apologise and step out of its way.
Yeah.
So the fact that it gives it deliberately a personality is for exactly that reason, that you feel a sense of empathy towards it, and you feel that sense of humanization towards Coco, that sense of, okay, I'm really sorry. You were talking to a robot in public, FYI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's not the craziest thing to do, but yeah. But I was because I've seen Coco robots for a year, and I think I laughed at them.
Yeah.
But there was the first time I had I now see them crossing the street by itself, and it's just like, oh, but where's it's like Mama robot?
Yeah. I get into a Waymo and I say, hey Waymo.
Oh, I haven't done that yet.
Every time. Hey Waymo, every time. And that's what they do in business, that if you can give it a personality and you can give it a sense of the value that it adds in your team, it removes that sense of AI is coming to take our jobs. Most of us now do jobs that our parents didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same for us in the next generation. It's not taking our jobs, it's shifting what work is available.
And creating
tons of opportunity.
Yeah, I think this idea of, I think it all comes back to perspective, right? It's so easy to look at the world and be so fearful about everything right now. Or the conversation I was having before with you actually we had the story about the horse parable. Where it's like, oh, the horse came and then good thing, bad thing, who knows? We have this whole, I think that especially with the AI and the workforce, it's such this is so bad. But then I speak to people who are so this is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you use it to really manage yourself and manage your time and manage your week. I was working with someone that I met at another space recently, who is
You're just going around to all these spaces and networking.
It's just networking. Yeah. See, abundance mentality. She is an AI prompt engineer. So creates really good AI prompts for organizations, really good subscription model. And these prompts can just really help you to manage your time and your week. So the three that I use them for, I'm an exec coach. I transcribe all of my coaching conversations, give them a summary of it through AI, and then get feedback on my coaching style through AI. So things I've done well, things I can improve on, better questions I could have asked, how I could have reframed it, how I could have tied down some actions, all really useful stuff. Second one is sales conversations, doing exactly the same, transcribing any sales meetings that you're having through AI, using then the prompts to understand how you could have done better, things that you may have missed out on, language cues that you missed that could have been buying signals or the opposite, how to plan for your next call, things to focus on, actions from there. And the third one I use it for is my weekly operating system, which is 3 months worth of goals, understanding then how that breaks down over the course of a week. I upload just simple 5-6 bullet points each day of how much time I've spent on core things. It tells me what I've done well, tells me off if I haven't done enough attention on a particular topic.
Okay, just learnt this from you. It can actually tell you off in a neat way.
Yeah, if you teach, particularly ChatGPT, because it's got a better memory, if you teach ChatGPT to have a particular style with you, it doesn't all need to be sunshine and roses. It can be really blunt, and it can give you some really positive but really developmental critique in there as well. So say I don't need the fluff, I need the actual kind of real check. So I get green check marks and I get red flags on the things, and then I get feedback saying, Matt, you need to focus on XYZ, otherwise you're not going to achieve this. If you don't achieve that, what's the impact? And it will tell me the impact. Really clever, working really well for me. I used to do it in a notebook. I used to sit and put it all in a notebook and journal on a Friday afternoon.
I think there's I have someone in my life who was using ChatGPT as a therapist, and to the point where it's someone that I could give feedback to just in terms of our dynamic, but I had to be like, I think this is being harmful right now because it was so much information to the point where it was like overboard. It was, the ChatGPT didn't have the sense of our somatic capacity to hold information, and especially when what she was using it for was awarenesses and profound realizations around life. But I think what I'm hearing from you is this can be used it's like dancing that line of how can this endless source of information be navigated in a healthy way. But just from having spoken to you for an hour, probably a max in life, I think there is a deep level of self-awareness already where you have these kind of boundaries and checks in place with yourself.
Yes.
Whereas I think kind of that's what makes me a bit of a question mark, is like, cool, if we're then saying, oh, you can tell ChatGPT to call yourself a piece of shit.
Yeah. One of the things that I use also, because it does favor you. So an example, my co-founder in the UK and I were looking at share ownership of the business.
Yeah.
And I was looking at what I feel is the right share ownership, and he was looking at what he felt was the right share ownership.
Oh, cool.
And then we shared the responses, and then we shared each other's prompts, and then we put the same prompts in, and both of our ChatGPTs massively favored us over the other person, even though we used the same prompt in the same script in each other's ChatGPTs. So he got a much better deal in his ChatGPT, and I got a much better deal in mine, having used exactly the same prompts.
Did you then put them together and say, how can you make this equitable?
So there's another platform that I use, which is lmarena.ai.
Okay.
And it has 101 different platforms in it. And then it randomly generates 2 responses side by side from those 101 different AI platforms. So you can see 2 completely different or sometimes very similar versions of the truth. And then you can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on which one you like.
Which is the best one for, because I'm in this place right now, so I might as well just ask the professional things I'm in. Establishing contracts, like new business contracts.
I would probably use lmarena.ai.
Okay.
Because then you get 2 different versions of what it is that you want. And you can take the best of both worlds if you need to.
Interesting. Okay, cool. It's I think this idea of, I think about when I came out here, we were starting a business, we were starting the US office, and like the first year or 2 of that was just business development and like finding people's emails and doing outreach and just so time consuming to the point, and like a lot of meetings. And I think there is a difference here where people say yes to meetings.
Yes.
Here a lot more than the UK.
Yeah.
And I'm also speaking from, I haven't worked in the UK for 9 years, so I have a lot of judgment around how it probably isn't anymore.
Yeah.
But just like that stuff with AI is just so, could eliminate it completely. It really is.
So I use an external lead agency that does that for me, and they use AI, obviously. Yeah. So they send out thousands of messages on my behalf per month. And the first time that I know about that is when I get a meeting in my diary that the potential customer has booked into my diary for themselves. So they've had maybe a 2-3 month email conversation with me. I've not spoken to them once.
Do they know?
No.
How do they capture your personality?
I send them, it's very, very informal, and it's deliberately very informal. It's very chatty, it's very conversational. There's not a huge amount of detail in there deliberately. And when it gets to that meeting, that first point of meeting, that person feels like they know me. We've built up an online relationship to get to a point of knowing each other.
I'm like, okay, so my mind's like, oh wait, I need to do this. I'm trying to look for another fractional recruiting client. So I'm like, duh, I should be doing this, right? But then I'm like, I'm so terminally unique that no chat AI could ever get who I am. But that's bullshit, right?
Yeah, it is. To the point where one of the meetings that I had was the CEO of the competition of the company that I use. And he got on the call and went, oh, Matt, nice to meet you. And I went, I've got to be honest, we've never spoken before. And he went, you use X company, don't you? I was like, yeah, I do.
But are people not getting savvy to this? Like,
if the CEO of the competition isn't, and this was last month.
So you still think it's still right to, and how much do you pay for like a monthly lead gen?
It depends on the number of meetings that you get. So it's tiered per month with a number.
Okay. We talk about thousands or hundreds?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll do some research. Okay.
But it pays.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. It's funny, just this, I think with the way of starting the business, like all the tools, there's this fear of like spending the money here, is this worth it,
Yes.
Is that whole navigation of, I have this kind of internal like constantly I'm fucking up kind of vibe, or I'm going to make this, and I think there's that underlying anxiety of like I'm going to do something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm getting over it, I'm like, there's this level of trust and self-esteem that I'm building within myself of like, cool, I know what I'm doing, I'm good, I have support, I have community, we're good. But there is still this like, oh, what if I do this wrong?
And you will do things wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're trying something new, you're curious, you're experimenting. Some of those things are going to work and some of them aren't, and that's okay. And as long as the things that you know that you're investing in are the things that are going to be ones that eventually are going to turn into some kind of revenue stream, that's where you need to go. And for us, it's about getting in front of people. So it is virtual or face-to-face client meetings, it's networking, and it's running our own event series. That's worked really well for us.
Interesting. You're kind of just inspiring me around like the business development sales piece, because I've had so much resistance with that over the last few years. Like that was kind of why I was like, no to recruitment ever, because it always felt so salesy. But now I have something that I have a business that I really believe in. Like these are the kind of conversations, and the intention is to we'll have 16, 17 of these conversations as like the front end. And then on the back end is like an ecosystem of like businesses and, you know, here are the people that are actually affecting change, and kind of wrapping it up and ship it out. And then I'll get a referral deal for all that stuff. It's basically a huge affiliate network. So I now have something which I believe in, not just from the money perspective, but really, you know, putting together people whose values I believe in. And I think they're actually doing good. Yeah. But the business and the sales piece of it, like there's still like this, like, oh, but I don't want to be salesy. But I guess if AI
to do it,
was also being salesy on my behalf.
Exactly, it's doing it for you. Yeah. The other thing that's worked really well for us is to not sell, but to show your value.
Yeah, true.
And then that brings the business to you. So having some kind of lead magnet where you're giving away something for free that is kind of a tester of your product, it's an introduction to what you do, and people get some kind of results from it, some kind of score or some kind of audit from it.
It's like a free kind of product.
Like a free product. So we do a light version of our leadership assessment. So people can see where their skills are working and where there's some blind spots. We do an AI leadership readiness session. So it's a 10, 15-minute online, and they get a score back that tells them these are the areas that you work really well in, and these are some areas that you can support in. And if you need that support, we can help you with that. So the lead that we're taking out there is how we can add value to you, not what we can take from you. Because selling often feels like what we're taking from you. This is leading with, here's what we do, here's how it can add value to you. If it does, come back to us. If it doesn't, this is still yours and this is still valuable.
You're making my brain tick, which is really cool.
Good.
I love it when that happens. I'm conscious of time, and yeah, I mean, I think this is, you know, I'll wrap with just like this idea that any of us have any idea how to do this, but the experience that I've had is like I meet people, like for all the things I don't know how to do, I keep putting myself out there, and I do a lot of writing. I have a Substack which comes out. Have one out today, and I keep meeting people that are just like showing me the breadcrumb. And it wasn't through, I didn't know I was going to meet you this week.
No, this time last week we didn't know each other.
And now I'm just in the last year hearing lots of things that are like, oh yeah, cool. You know, it's just, I guess it's just trust that this is the universe, you know.
Say yes and then figure out how to do it.
And none of us know what we're doing.
None of us know what we're doing.
I love it.
What a positive note to end on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.